this hour. But now we want to go to San Francisco Chronicle sports columnist Scott Ostler, who is live with us on the phone. Scott, no one better really to give perspective on the passing of Willie Mays, and someone who's seen him play than you. Your initial reaction when you heard the news tonight?
Well, first of all, I don't know if I'd be the best. You know, John Shea was tight friends with him and everything, but I did get to see Willie play, and I did get to talk to him quite a few times, and it was a thrill. My reaction is, I guess, not unexpected, because I know his health had been declining in recent years, and so it was not totally out of the blue, but it was a shock. But you know, I flashed back on so many memories when I was a kid and first starting to watch baseball. You know, Mays was just he was a riveting player. He compelled you to watch him. He was very theatrical. He played with a certain flair and a joy that you just don't see. You know, little things like when he would chase a fly ball, his hat would fly off. Well, he did that on purpose because he knew it would look cool. He wore a hat a little bit too small so it would fly off, because he liked to put on a show. He made catches in center field. You know, you catch the ball up high up by your head. Willie did his basket catch where he caught the ball down at his waist, because it was cool. He dressed cool. He looked cool. And way beyond that, I think Willie did as much, maybe to sound kind of outlandish, he did as much to integrate baseball in some ways as Jackie Robinson did, because Willie came along in '51, which is 4 years after Jackie, but baseball was still far from integrated. Many teams didn't have a black player, and it was still not a great, really popular idea among a lot of people. And you needed players not only who could play and perform, but who had a certain presence. And Willie had this sort of dignity and style and everything. It just President Obama told John Shea, when John Shea wrote his book, he said, Willie Mays made it impossible to be a racist. So he just did so much for baseball. You know, his thing is, we talk about the Warriors, and Steve Kerr preaches joy, right? And that's always been the Warriors' trademark. Willie Mays was joy. That's what he was about.
Scott, you underlined something that, you know, we all have heard about, his charisma, his effervescence, I love the detail of the hat flying off on purpose because it looked cool. But he wanted to make it fun for people. Yeah.
Here's something he did. The late Bill Rigney, who was the first manager of the San Francisco Giants when they moved here, I would try to write a book with him once, and he told me a lot of stories, and some of them about Willie. And he said one time Willie, early in his career, was playing winter ball, go down to like Puerto Rico and places like that and play winter ball. So he's playing winter ball. Willie's playing center field, and right field is Roberto Clemente, the great Pittsburgh right fielder, who was probably the greatest right fielder of all time. So you've got the greatest center fielder of all time, the greatest right fielder of all time. And Rigney said what Willie did a couple times, you know, there's a base hit out to center field, and Willie would go to field it to throw it back in, and he would let the ball go through his legs, like, oops, I made an error. And Roberto Clemente would be right behind him. And Clemente had the greatest arm in baseball history. And so he would gun the runner down. It was just like a trick thing they did. And it was just, Willie was always thinking, man. He won spring training probably 35 years ago. He was around the Giants, and he was a kind of an ambassador then. And I asked him if he'd do an interview, and he got off on the story about how when he played center field, he would basically call the game from center field. He would signal to the catcher, this is what we're going to do with this hitter. You know, we're going to start him off with fastballs or whatever. The catcher would take the signal from Willie, relay it to the pitcher. So Willie was running the game from center field. He was a brilliant baseball player, just super smart, and just the whole package.
Scott, that's incredible. That's an incredible nugget, and the catcher must have good eyes to see the call all the way out there.
Exactly.
in center field. And one of the noteworthy things about Mays and his legacy is you know, his relationship with the Bonds family, teammate of Bobby's with the Giants, and then later, you know, became a mentor, of course, to Barry, his godfather. What is your understanding of, you know, the importance of that relationship for everybody involved?
Well, from what I understand, and what I've heard and observed a little bit, but mostly heard, is that Willie was a great influence on Barry, because, you know, Barry growing up was always he's quirky. Barry's quirky. He was kind of a wild child, and in some ways emotionally out of control, and just an odd guy to be around at times. And Willie would kind of rein that in and would be a counselor to him like an advisor, a fatherly type thing, especially after Barry's actual father died. Willie was always around, and Willie was became sort of like Barry's father. You know, he would advise him, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, you should take care of this. Kind of brought some stability to Barry's life, I think, and also some, some leaderships and some, Barry didn't have a lot of people cheering for him. If you meet Barry, you think, this guy's kind of a jerk and stuff, and a lot of people had that impression. Well, Willie, didn't go with that. Willie said, this guy's like my kid in a way, and I'm going to treat him like that, and just showed him a lot of love and direction and just, patting him on the back and stuff like that, which Barry needed. So he was a big influence on Barry.
Yeah, and he must have loved and appreciated and needed it. Scott Ostler.
Oh, that catch there, you see the picture of the catch?
Oh, you're watching, yeah.
That was in 1951. It was called The Catch. A quick story. Do you have time for a fast one?
Go ahead.
Okay. Probably 6 or 7 years ago, when Dwight Clark, the great football player, was dying. He had been diagnosed with the disease, and he was kind of had a few months left to go. And I set up a photo of Dwight and Willie together, because Willie made his catch, and of course Dwight was famous for his catch of the Joe Montana touchdown. And I got a framed photo of each of their catches and had them hold their own photo of this catch. And my idea was, maybe we'd sell these, make some prints out and sell them for charity and so forth. And Willie agreed to do it. And so the photo session went great. Willie was just phenomenal with Dwight. He treated him like his big brother. Just Dwight was blown away. And Dwight just was almost in tears. He was so happy to meet Willie and so thrilled and honored. But before that, I had called Willie to set it up, and Willie said, how is this who's getting the money for this? And I had heard that Willie was careful with his money, because, that's how he earned his money in those days, was from autographs and things like that, his name, basically, selling his name. And he didn't just give stuff away. So I thought, okay, Willie's going to say he wants a certain amount of money. And Willie said, how's Dwight doing? And I said, he's not doing very well. And Willie said, I want Dwight to have all the money.
Wow. Well, that's the kind of guy he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, I love that you're looking at the video and you're saying, hey, look, there's the catch. We have to go to break, but Scott Ostler, sports columnist for the Chronicle, I love your stories, and thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Scott.
Thanks for having me on. It's a sad day, but it was great to honor the guy.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to share some of the tales and the good times. There are so many. That's Scott Ostler with the Chronicle. We'll be right back with more coverage on the passing of Willie Mays right after this.